Good evening, gang. Happy Tuesday night. All right, we have made it. We'll see if we can all see us and get it going on here. All right, waiting. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. There's a screen coming. Okay, let's turn that off. I forgot that part. All right, I'm seeing a whole bunch of 5x5s. That's good. I'm not even going to try to read them all because it's just ticking along so fast. All right. Well, happy Tuesday night, Thanksgiving week. Hopefully, you guys are getting preparations made for whatever you need to do. I started working on my stuffing today. Had to do all the liquid parts, so the house smells like bacon and garlic and onions and butter, and it smells really good. Then, of course, Mrs. P made a ham casserole for dinner, which was really good. So yeah, we're having an interesting week. Ham at the beginning of the week, and we'll have turkey at the end of the week. So that's kind of the game plan around here. but yeah, so then this weekend it'll be put up the trees and do all that. So that's kind of fun. So I see you guys got some snow up north. I guess Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Upers, even off to New York and stuff like that. You guys are going to get dumped on. So I will say this: if you're up there and going to grandma's house, please drive safe, guys. Let's not have any problems, especially if you're going to be the one driving. Uh, Stay away from the eggnog. Just saying that. Okay. So yeah, we're supposed to have a pretty wicked winter this year. Uh, I mean, even down here, they're saying we're going to have quite a bit of snow, and I mean, and this will be our seventh winter down here. And there's only been one snowstorm ever that has lasted 24 hours on the ground, and we're expected to have more. So we'll see what happens. Not that I'm gonna miss some snow. I like it around Christmas. I always like snow on the ground at Christmas. Come January 2nd, I'm happy with 70 degrees again, but that's that. So all right, give you guys a fun story. So you saw the video I did yesterday on uh, the post office. So I want to give you the latest on this one. This is why it is very important to have good representation in Congress because when you need them, you can wield the hammer of Thor here. Uh, so I went to the post office today because those mail it was supposed to be here yesterday. It was supposed to be here yesterday afternoon. Today I got there and he told me we don't know where it is now, and I know there's at least a couple of letters to you guys on. I'm I'm guessing they're either Christmas cards or Christmas donations, one of the two, to the charity. And they're not there. And because I use the service that they have where they send you a picture of what's coming, I know this stuff's coming. So I got home from the post office this morning. I'm like, the hell with this. I'm calling Burchett's office. So I call, and of course, somebody answers the phone right away. They do that in Republican offices. And I tell the girl that answers the phone, she says, hang on, let me get you with Pat right now. He's the one that deals with all the problems. Post office. It's okay. So I talked to Pat. I explained the story. I said, this isn't the first time. I said, this is the second time in 10 days this has happened. And he takes the whole thing. He says, all right, you need to sign this form so we can uh, release your information. Blah, blah. Great. Send it to me. Send it to me. I had it in 2 minutes. Filled it out. Took me 2 minutes to fill it out. Send it back. Okay. Now wait. About 5:30 this evening, I get a call from Nashville, and lady identifies herself. She says, "Hi, I'm so and so with U.S. Post Office. I'm the investigator in Nashville. Why would they send it to Nashville?" I said, "This is out of Nashville." She goes, "No, sir. I cover the entire state." She goes, "Not the one in charge." Okay, because I handle all the congressional stuff. Okay, So she gets on the phone. She's like, I'm already getting pulled to Knoxville to find out what's going on. She's, I will have an answer for you by the morning. She goes, I might have it tonight, but she goes, I'll have it. I'll get it to you. Okay. This isn't the first time that I've ever called the congressman on something. I mean, I had this happen. This is when I was up in New Hampshire. Funny part on this one is I had a Democrat congressman at that point, and I was up in New Hampshire. This was what 2011, maybe I think. So PBJ was coming to visit me for Christmas, and I had bought tickets on Delta Airlines, and they send me. This is a unaccompanied minor flying. I mean, 2011, she was what 13, and so unaccompanied minor. So you got to pay the extra fees. She's the whole very. If you've ever done this before, to have a minor flying on a plane, there's a lot of extra stuff you have to do. So I ordered the tickets, everything like that. The day before her flight, they send me the documentation I need to pick her up at the airport. And they spelled her name wrong on it. Now, if you guys know how this works with airplanes, everything's got to match perfectly. So I call up Delta, and Delta's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm like, no. I said, I've got to deal with TSA, and I'm going to have a kid there that I'm going to try to pick up. And whoever the officer is that's going to release her custody to me is going to go, your name doesn't match her name. No, we're not giving you your kid. And Delta was giving me all sorts of crap. I said, okay. So I got off the phone with Delta, and I called up my congressman. And the next morning, I had like 7 o'clock in the morning. Her flight was supposed to get in at like 2 o'clock. Sir, we apologize. Let us give you a flight credit, et cetera. I mean, it's like the congressman raised holy hell with them, about this. When it comes, and I make my point in this: as much as we bitch about politicians, you got to remember they are there to serve us. We are not here to serve them. They forget about that occasionally. But when you need something, you can get a hold of them and say, this is a problem. This is what I've done. I need you to throw some weight around and fix it. This is the third time I've ever done this in my life. I've never had an issue that didn't get solved real fast when a company, in this case the post office, all of a sudden gets a call from a congressman's office and said, we have a problem. All of a sudden the problem goes away. So we'll see what happens in the morning. But yes, that was kind of fun. That was an added thing I had to do today besides making stuffing and recording a video that we're going to go over here in a little bit, and recording the morning video and the normal chores around the house and paying attention to God knows what, talking to a friend of mine in the Pentagon, find out what's going on there. That was an interesting conversation. The whole Mark Kelly thing is very, very, very interesting. Uh, and it's funny listening to the Democrats trying to untangle the web they have created. Uh, but well, he didn't mean to say that. He didn't really say that. No, you're twisting his words, and everybody's like, no, exactly this. It was Claire McCaskill, if you remember her. I mean, she's no longer in Congress, but she's like, there's no rule in the UCMJ that says that he can't do this. I'm like, oh, yes, there is. Have you read it? She goes, of course I have. I said, okay. I said, here's the title. Here's the subsection. Good. Go read this. Get back to me. She answered, this is on Twitter. Her being a smartass. Claire McCaskill has always been a see you next Tuesday. But I posted that, and all of a sudden, radio silence from her. It's like, yes, this is actually the UCMJ code that he is in violation of. And, it's, if I read it to you here, let me pull it up on my computer here so I can read this to you because I want to give it to you specifically so you get it. Uh, this is what it says. It's under Title 18, subsection 2387. Activities affecting armed forces, seditious conspiracy variant aimed at the military. Okay. So Title 18, Chapter 115, subsection 2387 specifically prohibits, bullet point one, advising, counseling, urging, or in any manner causing or attempting to cause insubordination, disloyalty, mutiny, or refusal of duty by any member of the military or naval forces of the United States. Bullet point two, distributing any material with the intent to cause mutiny or disloyalty. Penalty up to 20 years in prison, a fine, or both. Please tell me that isn't exactly what we're talking about here. Okay? It's like I love these Congress people, former Congress people who think they're the end all be all. I'm a lawyer. You're an idiot. Because when I can quote stuff to you verbatim that you don't know that you say tuck your tail between your legs, go back, crawl into that hole you're in, and just admit you ain't as smart as you think you are. So, all right. So there's my fun conversation of the night. All right. So we are going to get into now the drawings, and if you've been paying attention, we have two of them tonight. One is for the EcoFlow Delta 3 Ultra that I reviewed a few days ago. And then the other one is for this behemoth that I showed you today. You got a kick out of how big this is. Maybe if you show up, but if you watch my videos, you know how I usually try to fill the screen with me. If you notice in that video today how far back the screen was, because that was the only way I could get this whole generator at the screen. Yeah, it's big. The box is, what is it? Oh, if I take a look at it, it's got to be 30 inches by 20 inches. I'd say 30 by 24 by 20. Yeah, this thing's big. So, all right. Sorry, yes, if I was leaning away from the microphone there for a second, we'll deal with it. Okay. So we're going to do both of these drawings. I will remind you on both of them. You had to enter in the video in which I recorded them. You had to put the state in which you live in and the answer to the random question. For the Delta 3, it was what your favorite season was. That one was pretty easy. Well, they're both pretty easy. But for the Opus, it was who's cooking Thanksgiving dinner? I got a kick out of reading some of them. Somebody said, like, Old Country Buffet. I'm like, okay, there's an answer. But as long as those two things are in there, it's a valid entry. Then whoever's name we draw will have 3 minutes to announce their presence in the live stream. As you guys know, just happened last week that we had to go to a second drawing. And so this happens. If somebody doesn't show up, somebody's not here, I'm sorry, that's it. You must be present to win. That is changed. So the other thing, when I say no more comments, the moderators are all going to put it in there in big capital letters. Says no more comments. Don't make comments. Okay. It's not a request. It's a lawful order. Give you that. If you do decide to run your fingers, you just won't ever be running your fingers again. So just remember that. It's not that important to type. Nothing anybody has to say in that 2 minutes is going to be that important that I can't wait. If somebody comes up and says Washington, D.C. was just nuked, fine, you're going to get kicked out. But go ahead and type it because we're not going to be having a live stream next week anyway if that happens. So, all right. So let's get into this. We will do the Delta 3 Ultra first. And let me start flipping screens around so I can get the right stuff up here. So this is the one that's a 0, which should be that one. So if I share it, yep, that is the one. All right. At this point, guys, no more comments. And after we draw the first winner, the only comment I want to see is from the winner. Save your congratulations until after we do both drawings, okay? No more comments until both drawings are complete. Mods, make sure you put that in here too, okay? So when we go over here and make sure that the mods have it all in there, no more comments. I see Prep Rebels got it, Bad Backwards has got it. Okay. Jeez. 1, 2, 3. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. We can't even get this far. Okay. We still got CT8 has got to go. Okay. Mark Gespor, he can go. Katie Powell, Patsy Powell, you can go. Goodbye, people. Okay. Uh, you're just done. That's it. Sorry. You are no longer eligible to ever win a contest or ever make a comment on a video again. Have a nice life. Following directions is kindergarten type stuff. You're adults. You should be able to do this. I don't care if people think I'm bitchy about this. I've been saying it for 3 flipping years. So, all right. Now that we have the adults in the room left and the children have been kicked out on our butt, let's go in here. Let's see if we can find out who our winner is. So, we'll go to fetch. And we do not include replies. As you all know, everybody make a primary comment only. We do not allow duplicates. Everybody gets 1 entry. So let's see what we got. How many comments or how many entries? Moving right along. 1,800, still ticking. There's 2,000. All right, we have 2,104 entries. This one is for the EcoFlow Delta 3 Ultra. I need a state and a season in it. So let's see what we got. My Happy Homestead Life, West Michigan in the house. That's good enough there. Winter is by far my favorite season. Yada, 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 yada. That covers everything. All right. My Happy Homestead Life. That is a valid entry. So it is, time is it? 8:18. You have until 8:21 to tell us you are in the room. So we are looking for My Happy Homestead Life. And only My Happy Homestead Life. Do, 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 do. Tickety tock, tickety tock, tickety tock. All right. Western Michigan. So you shouldn't be getting dumped on with snow yet. So hopefully that's not it. And My Happy Homestead Life is here. There we go. Congratulations. You are the soon to be potential winner, soon to be winner, owner of a new EcoFlow Delta 3 Ultra. I need you to email me your name, physical mailing address, and phone number. I will get this over to Elliot, and Elliot will get this sent out to you. Don't forget it's a holiday week, so you'll probably have this, I'd say, mid to late next week. Okay, I don't know if they're working Friday or anything like that. So there we go. Congratulations. We have one. All right. So let me go back to the other screen and let's get rid of all of this. So we'll stop sharing that one. Get my smiling face back in here. The second one we have here is for the Opus. There you go. Opus Guardian 6000. Whoever wins this one, I hope you don't have stairs to your house. I hope you have help to carry it. All right. So this one, you need to have the state in which you live in and who's cooking Thanksgiving dinner. So let me get over to the correct screen. Add it to the screen so you guys can see it. Do 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 do. Make sure we have the right One low. That's it. Okay, here we go. Again, primary comments only. Again, one entry. And let's see how many people were watching this afternoon. Tickety, tickety tock. Yeah, we're at 1,500 here, and video was only put up 8 hours ago. You're like 2,000 on this one? Yup. Wow, we actually have more entries on this one in 8 hours than we had on the other one in a few days. 2,171 people. All right, here we go. And the potential winner is Avon by Denise. Thank goodness I'm prepped here in Texas. 7-day prep will be items I canned months ago. Oh, Turkey Day prep will be items I canned months ago. Okay. Uh, I'm going to give that one an acceptable. It's got the T-Day, so I'm going to say, okay, if this is stuff that she canned, I'm going to assume that she's cooking it. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt on that one. That one's a stretch, but I'm not going to be that tough. So, Avon by Denise. It is 8:21. You have until 8:24 to announce your presence. All right. Could we possibly get 2 for 2? And again, I'll say this, guys, make stick around yet. I mean, there's almost 2,500 of you in here. If she's not here, we'll draw the name again. If she's not here, she's going to hate when she watches this video. Such a old one. Looking for Avon Denise. You have 2 minutes left, my dear. Time to expire. Once we get past them, there we go. There she is. Okay. I'm like, all right, she must have made a comment somewhere, ran to the bathroom. I don't know, grabbed a glass of wine, but okay. Avon by Denise, we also need you to send me your name, physical address, and phone number, and I will get that over to Miley, and Miley will get this sent out to you, and probably sometime next week. I think they because this thing just rolled out today, they're on shipping is like within 3 to 4 days. So today's Tuesday, Thursday's a holiday. They may not get it out till Monday. But both of them are really good about giving the tracking numbers as soon as anybody that's won a prize knows this. As soon as I get the tracking numbers from the company, whoever it is, I'll send it over to you guys so you guys can track where the package is so you know what's coming. But there we go. Congratulations to both of you guys for winning. And thank you to everybody else who was in here who did not make a comment in the 2 videos. I was like, holy crap, somebody listen. But thank you. Makes my life a lot easier. All right. Yeah, there's $1,000 generators there. So that's very nice. But all right. So moving on, let's get into real stuff. And we've still got a little more than half an hour to do this. We'll see what's on your mind tonight. We'll go into our normal Q&A. And as per normal, if you've got questions for me, please put them in all caps. It just makes it easier for me to find what's directed at me versus what you guys are talking about amongst yourselves, which you know I wholeheartedly encourage because that's the whole point of being here is fellowship, camaraderie, answering questions for each other, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're gonna talk amongst yourselves, please do that in lowercase. That's all I ask. The only rule is that you treat everybody in here politely with respect, me and everybody else in the comment section. Yeah. Disagreement's fine. Don't expect everybody to agree with me. I don't think anybody else out there should expect that 100% of the time either. If you disagree, politely state your disagreement. You start it off with, "Hey, you effing idiot! You will never make another comment here again." And people get on me all the time. They're like, "I can't believe you just kick people out." Like, you know what? I do the same thing in real life. You're a pain in the ass. I'm not going to associate with you. I try to keep this as user friendly as possible. And sure, my language gets a little salty every once in a while, but blame the army for it. But I'm not going to ever call anybody out. And usually I'm a diplomat when I'm trying to solve a little bit of rough edges between people. So be polite. Life's a lot more enjoyable that way. All right. Let us get to the top here. We're after all the congratulations. And we'll go. Essential Tam 33. How's the archery thing going? We haven't started it yet. We still. I don't think we're going to probably do it until spring. But collectively, we've got to build a firm and build targets and everything like that. But we're going to set up on a vacant piece of property uh, a uh, range. Well, I mean, we could around here you can move land around and stuff like that. Nobody's going to care. Uh, because hell, everybody's got tractors. It's like, oh, okay, gee, we can take it down, no big deal. We'll just plow the dirt back to where it needs to be. So we probably won't start that until the spring. Uh, Jenny W1910, did I find the soup for green bean casserole? With everything else I had going on and being pissed off at the post office today, I completely forgot about doing it. So that will be when I go to the post office again tomorrow. I have to remember to go try to find something. A whole bunch of people commenting on the video. I saw people commenting on Twitter about this today, about what it is. But people were saying they were going through their pantry and looking at all sorts of things to find out what had bioengineered food in it. Now, a few of you guys made comments that, oh, everything we have is GMO. It's the sugar, it's the wheat. There's a big difference between GMO and bioengineered. Okay. GMO is, I don't know, was it Pioneer of the corn? They may crossbreed corns to get one that's drought tolerant or disease resistant. That's, you're taking, oh, I don't know, peaches, peaches and cream corn, like, and crossing it, like a hybrid in the first place, but crossing it somehow so it's disease resistant. That's GMO. Yeah, okay, it's hybrid, depending on what they're doing. Bioengineered is literally when they're taking stuff and putting it out of a 3D printer. It's not food at all. Okay. Uh, it looks like food, but it's like saying the stuff you got out of an easy bake oven when you were a kid was edible. That stuff's actually probably more than the Bill Gates burgers. But yeah, there's a big difference between GMO and bioengineered. All right, Dave Simmons. Interesting. The results and replies showed up in the chat before they came up in the video. I don't know how that, because I'm watching the video to make sure the way, because I'm sitting right in front of my computer and I have the screen, which reminds me that might be a good idea if I did this. Here we go. We'll take that part out. Yeah, that'll tell you how much I'm watching the video because I just realized that I forgot to take down the screen sharing from that. So you're looking at me in this little 2-inch square at the side. We get Denise's name off of the board for a while. There we go. Now it shows on the screen. Okay. Uh, I don't know why, because I could see the screen. I know there's a delay from when I'm talking to when it's on the screen. I could see on the screen that Denise's name was up there before she ever said she was here. So maybe you got a slow connection or something. I'm not that one. I can't answer. With the delay like you guys do. Been here before. I will explain how this works. This is me and Mrs. P kind of giving back to you every year between Thanksgiving and Christmas called trivia, which is I ask a question, you're live. Oops, all right, up there we go. Okay, I was gonna say I saw my screen freeze, so just wanted to see what was going on. I see the screen freezing again. Uh, okay, let's see. Somebody said freeze frame. Okay, we're back there. All right, this is working. Okay. So what the trivia is I ask a question that's generally about me in some respect. I mean, we've done ones before that, what was my first car when I was a kid, or where'd I go to college, stuff like that. All the answers I've given to you in videos somewhere between Labor Day and now. I've answered every one of these questions. If you were paying attention, you might know the answer. The questions are, some of them have been surprisingly easy. I try to make them a little difficult, kind of going back to that last comment, because I don't want to ask the question and everybody knows the answer right away, and somebody may be on, I don't know, dial up or satellite or something like that, and they don't even hear the question before I already have an answer. But last year, I mean, we had a couple of questions where it take 15 minutes before we finally got somebody to get the answer. Uh, I hope they're not that difficult, but they ain't easy. Okay. But like I said, I've given you all the answers. That will start next week. And the prizes I have, I think you guys will enjoy. So, okay, let's see back. I gotta find back where it was because I wanted to check if we froze up here. Hang on. Gotta find where it was. There was that one. Okay. Janice, Janice GGG. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the community. Thank you, Pinball. You've taught me a lot. I hope if I've taught you one thing, or if I got you to think about something that maybe you hadn't thought about before, or enlightened you on something that you didn't know about, that's the goal. Okay. If you learn something, cool. But if I got you to think about something and maybe even come up with your same solution, that's your own solution, that's my goal. All right. And then Prep Rebel says, please change the screen. That tells you how far back. Yes, I got it. Okay. It's me, MK. We bought the first one with your $100 code savings. Uh, I'm guessing that's probably the Delta 3, but cool. That's a nice unit. Laura Story, am I done with all my gardens for the year? Oh, yeah. We had the uh, freeze. Was it last weekend? I think it was. I mean, we were down in the 20s at night. That was when I said I went out and I picked 5 gallon bucket, more than a 5 gallon bucket worth of sweet peppers. And then the next day, that night, we got the freeze and came out in the morning, and my pepper plants were all drooped and frozen. And it was like, okay, I got them all in time. So, yeah. Nope, gardens are shut down for the year. Mainly Maximus. Do I have more than one animal shelter you give to in our area? No, I just hit the Union County Animal Shelter. It is a no-kill shelter, so we deal with that. But the, the animal shelter that we donate to gets very, very little money from the community. I mean, I think I told you before, the Union County, where I am, is only got a population of 19,000 people. It's by income the third poorest county in the state. And so when I talked to the girls at the Union County Animal Shelter, uh, they tell me they do not get much funding at all from city, county, state, wherever. So most of their funding comes from private donations. And Mrs. P and I donate a couple of times a year. And then, of course, we do this and try to get them something here too. So, yeah, it's just the one. Now, when we did the hurricane deal last year, if you remember, we donated to the animal shelter that was up there. I forget the name of the county. Diane knows the name. Cook County or Cock County. There you go. Uh, we had donated to them up there because they had a big problem. For Christmas, we just do the local one. I'm not running all over God's green earth trying to do this stuff. So now back and forth to the post office, do the shopping, to the food bank, and to the animal shelter. where the kids drive and everything. There's enough running around for me. I'm not trying to add more to it. All right. Deb's time 055. Mr. P, will that big generator run a whole house? Okay. Uh, it has the potential to, but it depends on what you want to do with it. Okay, like I said today, it's expandable out to 41.4, which is twice the size of the system I've got. Okay. So if you expanded it out, it could easily run my house. The one generator itself, if you want to use it to hook it up to a transfer switch and run your overhead lights or something like that, power outage and stuff, yeah, it could cover that. It'll run 6,000 watts. I think it's what 4,600 kilowatt hours or something like that. It'll run your overhead lights. You're not gonna run your microwave and your coffee pot and your lights and everything like that for any sort of length of time on just the one generator. It it's the generator. It's now the expandability is where if you want to get bigger and bigger, that you're going to be able to run a whole house. Does it have the potential to? Depending on the size of your house, okay. But if I had that in my house, I could easily run the entire house and probably decently for the HVAC system. You're not going to get your house down to 65 degrees in the summer or whatever. You're not going to heat it in a blizzard, but yeah, I mean, you could use it somewhat. Badger Pinball, remind people to put cat litter in their car or sand in a coffee can to help get off ice. Oh, you just did it. Yeah. There is a good thing. Everybody goes out and buys ice melt. It used to be salt. And then it's like, well, we killed all the grass. And then, they got this chemical ice melt. Okay, this stuff gets crazy expensive. Go to the dollar store and buy the bag of cheap cat litter, and it will do you just. It's not going to melt the ice or anything like that, but it's going to give you the traction to get out. And it's like everybody says, "Oh, gee, use the car mats in your car." You ever try cleaning your car mats after you ran your tires over them? Okay, especially if they're in the snow and slush and ice. You're never going to get your car mats clean again. So, yes, go out and get yourself uh, some kitty litter, or get yourself some sand or whatever. And kitty litter is better than sand. But if you live up in those snowy areas, you should know it. But if it's going to be bad down here, you know, I know what it's like when we get the ice storms here. And no offense to the people down south, people down here do not know how to drive in winter conditions. Good reason. They don't get a whole lot of practice in it. So when you have a winter storm of some sort, there's cars all over the place, and for most people, the best bet is just stay home. But uh, yeah, if you gotta go, make sure you got your emergency stuff in the car to get you out of stuff. I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. To have blankets and hats and gloves, and you should have already flipped over your bug out bag from your summer gear to your winter gear. In there. So you've got the ski cap and the gloves and the scarf and the hand warmers and everything like that. You don't need to carry in the summertime, but you need to carry in the winter. Okay, we know about the screen. Basketball. Hey, Pinball, as I told you about my wife's garlic, is there something special I have to do in the flower pot they are in through the winter? Just leave it out there. If it gets snowed on, it gets snowed on. Not a big deal. It's fine. Just let them do their thing. They'll winterize. They'll be fine. They don't care. Uh, just they're good. You know. Paul McGuire, Campbell Soup CEO, said their projects are bioengineered. That's what I did the video on. Uh, there's a lot of stuff that's bioengineered. Campbell Soup. It's on the labels, but people don't read them. But now that this has been made public, if you own Campbell Soup stock, get out. Okay, I didn't even look to see what it did today, uh, but it's not something I follow. But Yeah, I would not. Campbell Soup has just had their butt. Uh, Everybody got the screen. I know this is all behind, so there's just a lot of screen comments. Hart Miller just added something new to my preps I didn't think about. Fire blankets for $20 on a Black Friday. Pinball or anyone else have those? Yeah, I've got them. Got, I think 8 of them. Because fire blankets. Something happens, something you can wrap somebody up, or you can throw it over something. They're good to have if you have solar generators. It's something to throw over the top. You don't want to be spraying with stuff. You throw a fire blanket over it. That will help. If you catch on fire or something like that, do you have a fire ladder? Done videos on this before. Do you have a fire extinguisher in the house? I mean, mine's sitting right here, right next to me, right here in the kitchen. Okay, that's that one. There's one out in the garage. There's one in the laundry room. Wherever you have a potential for fire, you need to have a fire extinguisher. So take care of that sort of stuff. But yeah, uh, Miller, we've talked about that before. It's been a few years, so yeah. I mean, depending on when you joined the channel, is probably an older video. All right. Stan Brett again. What holidays did Mrs. P celebrate in Russia? Well, they celebrate Christmas. They celebrate New Year's. Just no Thanksgiving, obviously. But Russian Orthodox Christmas is on January 7th, and it is specifically the religious holiday. Okay. The commercial Christmas we have, they don't. The gift giving that they do is on New Year's. Okay. So everybody will get together for New Year's. They have their big meals and you know, exchange gifts or whatever it is, and then watch the ball drop wherever, Moscow or where they are. Uh, so that, it, I'll say this, and there's probably going to be people that disagree with me, but this is my. You'd be amazed, for a lot of our childhood, we all remember duck and cover, get under your desk, like that was going to do any good. Okay, and the evil empire and all this sort of stuff, right? Unfortunately, we have Congress that was Chuck Grassley, who's running for reelection. He's 95. Uh, Seriously, but they still haven't gotten over that Cold War mindset that Russia's the enemy, Russia's the enemy, Russia's the enemy. And it's funny, when I went over there, we have more in common with the people in Russia than I could say. I can say this in Poland, I can say it in the Czech Republic. We Americans have more in common with the public, not the politics, the public of Eastern Europe than we do of Western Europe. It sounds really weird, but you know, it's sense of community, it's helping each other out, it's being neighborly. I think that would just be the conservative side. Yeah, because Western Europe is this. I mean, you couldn't pay me to go back to Western Europe. The people there are snobbish, snooty, think they're better than everybody. That's yeah, no, sorry, that doesn't fly in my book. All right, moving on along. Okay, that's about the screen. I got it. Caveman, look, a history question. What was the most deadly day in history? I, I don't know. I mean, I think that it's got to be somewhere during World War II, but honestly, no clue. Uh, Kathy Williams, do I have a favorite dessert for any time of the year, not specific to Thanksgiving? Uh, I See, the thing is this, I'm not the big sweet eater, okay? A piece of pie every once in a while, okay, it's nice. Uh, I mean, if there's any dessert I have more than anything else, it's ice cream, but, that's I like to make the collage at Christmas, but, you know, I don't know, my favorite cake could be German chocolate cake. My favorite pie would probably be cherry or lemon meringue. Yeah, I mean, I I'm not a big sweets person, so I can't really say there's nothing I'm gonna, crawl over a parking lot full of broken glass for. That's Truber, which is a better buy now, silver or Bitcoin? Oof. Uh, First I'm gonna qualify it, and depending on what your goal is, okay? Uh, I I'd have to say silver, okay? And I'll give you my reasons, okay? And again, it depends on any person. I'm 59 years old, all right? I don't have, if I'm lucky, hopefully I got 25 years left on the earth. Who knows where Bitcoin is in 25 years? It could be 13 million, like Michael Saylor says. It could be zero. It could be the next tulip, you know, fiasco or next Cabbage Patch Kids. We don't know. Silver, we know for sure, is going to still exist and still have value. So the conservative side of me, not politically, but financially, conservative side of me says silver. If you've got the time frame and if you're willing to take the risk, Bitcoin is I don't want to say completely, kind of like a casino. Don't put in there more than you can afford to lose. If Bitcoin does go to zero, which I know there's going to be a million people say, "Oh, it's the future" and everything like that. Okay, whatever. It can go to zero because there is nothing physical about it. I've said this for years. Okay, it's still in the ether. The power goes out, poof, you have no Bitcoin. I can't give you a good answer because I mean only you can make that decision. If you've got the cojones for aggressive growth and are willing to risk it, go with Bitcoin. If you want to be a little bit of more on the conservative side, you're my age, okay, go with silver. Here's a great idea, just like everything else. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you're looking at buying silver or Bitcoin, buy some of both. That way, no matter what happens, you're covered. Yeah, you're going to limit your upside because if Bitcoin does go to 13 million, silver's not going to appreciate that much. But if Bitcoin goes to zero, you've limited your downside because silver ain't going there either. So if I, in your scenario with the teeny tiny bit of information I have, buy 50% of both. It's all each. Von Mousetrap. I will never look at canned soup the same again. That major soup company stated today they do not use printed meat. Uh, okay, so then what's bioengineered in the cream of chicken soup? Because basically it's chicken and condensed cream, and it's kind of hard to bioengineer a liquid. So the only other thing in there is chicken or what looks like chicken. Patrick King, Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Uh, I think you're about a month or so late for that one, unless you're, I don't know, maybe it's Indigenous Peoples Day in Canada. I don't know. I don't know where you're from. So it ain't Indigenous Peoples Day in the United States. Matter of fact, there's no such thing as Indigenous People Day in the United States. That's just either Joe Biden made up holiday like Transgender Day of Remembrance or whatever it was on Easter. Dumbass. All right, moving down the list. Gary Hinton 13. Could I give out my email address? It's under every video in the description, but it is pinball preparedness at mail2world.com. That's mail, the number two. So, but it's in the description of every video, every live stream. So, on the left hand side there where it says more, it's now 909 watching, some more. Click under that more, and my email address will be there. Hillbilly Homestead. After your video, I tossed out all my Campbell's soup. Okay, if it's in the bottom of the trash can right now, getting all stinky, don't do it. Uh, if anything, go donate it to a food pantry somewhere. If you're gonna get rid of it, rather than just throw it in the dump, you know, give it to the food pantry. Just an idea. Uh, Penny Lore. What type of business installs wood stoves? Find the fireplace shops. They are the ones that are going to do. Yeah, wood stove is something that you definitely want professionally installed, because if you do it wrong, you are going to burn your house down. But go talk to somebody in one of the fireplace shops. They will point you, if they don't do it themselves, they will point you to licensed installers. Sharon Keevlin. Love the straight and forward directions. No mistakes should be made if you have a brain. Have a great Thanksgiving. Great reminder to call my congregation. Yeah, that's kind of how I like to live my life. It's pretty black and white. Okay, where we go? Stan, you guys have a fun time with you. Stan Bredelgan. What will happen to John Bolton? Well, hopefully we don't get another libtard judge who decided today to toss the cases on James Comey and Letitia James, because I don't think this uh, prosecuting attorney was appointed correctly. God, they'll find, these libtard judges will find any reason they can to mess with Trump. It's unbelievable. Mess to mess with the country. It's just it's what was it the guy up in Minneapolis today, some libtard judge up there who was some Somali who was convicted by a jury unanimously of stealing $7.2 million, and the jury found him guilty. The judge nullified the verdict today and said, nope, let him. And the jury was furious. They're like, there's overwhelming evidence. We had to deliberate for 4 hours, and we all agreed this guy's guilty. I just sat there, we're letting him go. Congress needs to start impeaching a lot of these judges. I've got about as much faith in John Thune and Mike Johnson as I do in the Tooth Fairy. Stuck in the city, prepper. Happy Thanksgiving. I finally got out of the city. Woo! Enjoying 15 acres in Arkansas. Got my garlic planted. There you go. Keep them videos. Well, congratulations on getting out of the city. That's enough to be thankful for on Thursday, more than you can imagine. Uh, okay, no idea the context of that one. Member Barry, what do I think of the potential revaluation of gold from 42 to 20K, so Fed could claim our debts tied to physical assets and knock our debt down since we're 132% over? It's great in theory, but they can't do it because, again, and we talked about this last week. gold is much more widely owned now than it was 55 years ago in the 70s, or God knows more than it was 90 years ago in the 30s, when we've had on the gold standard, off the gold standard, confiscation of gold, revaluation of gold, stuff like that. I mean, if one of you has a 1 ounce gold bar in your house, it's worth $4,000 right now, and you wake up tomorrow morning and they say it's now worth $20,000. Guess what? That's inflationary. Okay, because not only did the value of that go up, but every piece of gold jewelry you have, and every piece of gold that you know every person in the world owns just went up. Because if Japan comes up and says, "No, we're not paying 4,000 or $20,000 for an ounce of gold," which inevitably is going to happen because they don't want inflation to run rampant. It's an inflationary idea. It, it's like communism. It sounds great on paper, but it doesn't work. And I, my famous line: everybody got to think past the tip of their nose. You can't just say something is worth something. You know, there's a guy running around on Twitter the other day. I bought this house 3 years ago for $700,000. It's now worth $1.7 million, and I can't find anybody who can afford to buy it. People are offering me the money, but they can't afford to buy it. I'm like, then it ain't worth 1.7 million bucks. You know, something is only worth what somebody else is going to give you for it. I'm not giving you $20,000 for an ounce of gold, so therefore it ain't worth $20,000. And what I'm saying when I say I'm not, the government, the pawn shop, whatever it is, you're not going to walk in and go, "I got my ounce of gold here. I want 20 grand for it." I just go, "No, they'll give you 4,000 bucks for it, and that's it." And if the government thinks they're going to do it, that would be about this. We'd have hyperinflation so fast it wouldn't be funny. 857. Well, okay. Do. Where are we? Okay. Shout all the way to the bottom. Okie Forge, we finally got fiber optic for internet in my community. Incredibly fast. Oh, yeah. Trust me, they're with you. When we moved in here for the first year, we moved in I think it's for the first 2 years, the only way we could get internet was with HughesNet. Oh my God. Because I had just started the YouTube at that point, and it would take over an hour to upload a 10-minute video. Now, the upload part takes about 5 minutes. Uh, the clearing part with YouTube, making sure that I'm not getting naked on here, takes a half an hour, but that's on them. That's not the internet. Yeah, when we got fiber optic out here, I was like, oh my God, peace, civilization. So yes, appreciate it too. Scott Hoffmaster saw Italy preparing to tax the possession of gold. Great. Okay. How much gold do you have, sir? You don't have any. So here you bought gold. Lost it all in a boating accident. It was the same day I lost my guns. That's literally what's going to happen. So again, I say this over and over and over again. They can write all the laws they want. If they can't enforce them, it has no teeth. You know, that's the part everybody forgets. If Congress writes some of the stupidest stuff out there, that Congress wants all this. I mean, take a look at voter ID. Congress won't do anything. 85% of the American public wants voter ID, but 535 people in Congress don't. Well, I won't say 500, 280 don't, or whatever. And therefore, we can't have it, even though 85% of the country wants it. It's no different the other way. If 85% of Congress wants it, and most of the United States says, screw that, good luck enforcing it. Okay. How many times have you heard cops go, no, sorry, we're not doing that? You All right, one more. Essential Tam. What do I think about an 11-cent piece? That ain't happening. I mean, why? Because, okay, if something's worth $1.11 or $1.22, that's great, but what if it's worth $1.21? Who cares? Or $1.23? It doesn't help it at all. Okay, so that one's not going to go anywhere. All right, gang, that's it. 9 o'clock. Have a good one. We'll see you in the morning. Pinball out.